All right. Let's start off by saying Barak Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahushai, Ba'Shem, Hakodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is The Branch and the Vineyard. Now, the branch is Yahushai, and the vineyard is the nation of Israel. Lord's will, this lesson will be edifying. So let's get started. This lesson pretty much came through the inspiration of something I was reading this morning. I was reading, through the book of Matthew, and I got to the second chapter, and there was a particular portion towards the end of the chapter, which we're going to read, that gave me the inspiration to look up, to go through some precepts and, put this lesson together, because I wanted to do a little more reading, but the spirit took over for the lesson. So we have a saying, strike while the iron's hot, and the iron was hot, and we and that's when we got to strike. So let's go to the book of Matthew, the second chapter. Those of you that are familiar with the book of Matthew, you know that this chapter is dealing with when the wise men came to Herod. They told him the news about the king being born, of Israel. He asked them, he asked the Pharisees and them where, and they told him that in the scriptures is contained that he shall be born in Bethlehem. Herod told the wise men that when they find out where the child is, let him know so you can go worship him, which was a lie. He just wanted to kill him off so that, the king of Israel would be done away with. Then the Lord came to the wise men, told them not to go back to Herod, and they fled. They didn't go back to Herod. Then the angel came to Joseph and told him to take Mary and his son Yahushai and go down into Egypt until the death of Herod. So fast forward in it, we're going to the point where after the death of Herod, the Lord came back to Joseph in a dream and told him that he can go back to Bethlehem now because Herod was dead. But then Joseph heard that his son Archelaus was in power, so he feared, and he went into Nazareth, up into Galilee, to fulfill scriptures, to fulfill prophecy. So let's start off here, Matthew 2:19. But when Herod was dead, behold, the angel of the Lord appeareth in a dream to Joseph in Egypt, saying, Arise, and take the young child and his mother, and go into the land of Israel, for they are dead which sought the young child's life. All right. And he arose and took the young child and his mother, and came into the land of Israel. But when he heard that Archelaus did reign in Judea in the room of his father Herod, he was afraid to go hither. Notwithstanding, being warned of the Most High in a dream, he turned aside into the parts of Galilee. All right. And when you look at a map, Galilee is in the northern border, of Israel, or should I say to the north of Israel. Just bear with me 1 second. All right. Just bear with me 1 second. All right, this seems like a pretty decent one here. All right, so here we have Galilee, and these are all the cities, that comprise that. I can make it a little bigger. Galilee, Chorazin, Capernaum, Magdala, Tiberias, all of these were all cities in Galilee. You have Nazareth here. This is where they abode, in Nazareth, and this is where Yahushai performed his first miracle in Cana. Okay. All right. So now that we got that out the way, it says, and he came and dwelt in a city called Nazareth, which we just saw right here. Nazareth down here, right? It says that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the prophets, he shall be called a Nazarene. Now, the word Nazarene means separated one. All right, separate one. So that's why he went there. So that part there about the Nazarene is what started the search, for the other precepts, to put together for the lesson, which Yahushua was separated. He was separated because to be separate means really to be holy. And that's why the Lord separated the saints, and made them holy from the other nations by using the law, statutes, and commandments. So the Lord separated this particular sheep, which is Yahushua, for the purpose of doing away with the sins of the nation of Israel. Because remember, the sheep during the Passover, you were separated on the 10th day, a sheep of the first year without blemish, without spot. And then on the 14th day at evening, that's when you would kill it, around that time frame, so that you can have the Passover, which is the Passover is the first night, which is actually also the Feast of Unleavened Bread also. All right. So we have Nazorayos, which means Nazarite, one separated. An inhabitant of Nazareth, a title given to Yahushua in the New Testament, a name given to Christians by the Jews, Acts 24:5. So he's known as the separated one. All right. The savior of the nation of Israel. He was separated for the purpose of, redeeming the nation of Israel. So now let's go from there to the book of Zechariah. Just bear with me 1 second. Zechariah chapter 3 and verse 8. We're going to go straight to the points. Right here you see the subtitle, The Branch. It says, "Hear now, O Joshua, the high priest." Now you had Joshua and Zerubbabel. Zerubbabel was the governor of Israel at the time, and Joshua was the high priest. All right. "Hear now, O Joshua, the high priest, thou and thy fellows that sit before thee, for they are men wondered at. For behold, I will bring forth my servant, the branch." And who is the servant, the branch? This is dealing with Yahushua. And that's why you have the word branch all capitalized. Branch. And the word for branch is the Hebrew word tazamach, which means sprout, growth, branch. Sprouting, growth, sprout, growth of process, sprout, shoot of Messiah from Davidic tree. And that's exactly what it is, because he came through the direct lineage of King David, and this is why they give the genealogy of Yahushua going all the way back to Judah, or Yahweh, the patriarch, and they mentioned women within that line, not that they were part of the genealogy, but they were women that were important figures in history, and some of those women were harlots. Rahab was a harlot, and Tamar, she played the harlot. She covered herself and played the harlot because that's what Judah or Yahweh was looking for. He was looking for a harlot to get comfort from. All right, so she had played a part in bringing forth children for the nation of Israel. Then you had Rahab, then you have Ruth, so on and so forth. So this is a direct line, this branch, that was a part of the root, and the root being Judah, which ultimately the root is Yahushua. He came through that line. That's why when you read Matthew, the first chapter, it gives you the genealogy or the genes or the generations of Yahushua going all the way back, to Abraham, Isaac, all the way on down the line. All right. So now let's go from there. Let's go. Let me see if there's anything else here. All right, that's the main point. Now let's go to Zechariah, the 6th chapter. All right. Zechariah, the 6th chapter. And the 12th verse. "And speak unto him, saying, Thus speaketh the Lord Yahweh by Shem Yahushua of hosts, saying, Behold, the man whose name is the branch, and he shall grow up out of his place, and he shall build the temple of the Lord." Because remember, we are all built up upon what? The foundation of the apostles, which the foundation of the apostles was what? Or who? Yahushua, which is the head of the corner, which was rejected, the rejected cornerstone. This is Ephesians chapter 2, verse 19. Now, therefore, you are no more strangers and foreigners, you Israelite foreigners, but fellow citizens with the saints. Why? Because you are saints, and you're recovered now. You're reconciled back now. And of the household of the Most High, which the household of the Most High is who? The nation of Israel. And are built upon the foundation of the apostles and the prophets, Yahushua himself being the chief cornerstone. So he is the branch. He is the special stone or cornerstone that the house of David would be built upon. Okay? In whom all the building fitly framed together groweth unto an holy temple in the Lord. Why? Because this was a promise that was made to King David. It says in whom, and really it goes all the way back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, or Jacob, in whom ye also are builded together for an habitation of the Most High, Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, through the Spirit. See? So this is why the truth is being taught to gather the stones that are a part of the building, because that building is what the Lord would dwell in to be able to teach, his word through that building, through those different individuals that make up the building of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So now let's go back. Let's read this again. Zechariah 6:12. And speak unto him, saying, Thus speaketh the Lord of hosts, saying, Behold, the man whose name is the branch, and he shall grow up out of his place, and he shall build the temple of the Lord. That's right. It says, even he shall build the temple of the Lord, and he shall bear the glory. Yeah, because he is the one that's going to get the first glory. And remember, he got his glory in the heavens. He got his glory, but he hasn't been magnified on the earth as of yet. But he's being magnified right now. And when he comes back, he'll fully magnify his name, beginning with the name of the Most High Yahweh, and his kingdom shall be established upon earth, and shall sit and rule upon his throne. See? And he shall be a priest upon his throne, and the council of peace shall be between them both. Why? Because he is that Prince of Peace. So now, I had a precept, but we can get to that one later. So what I'll do is, let's go from there now. Let's go to the book of Isaiah, the 11th chapter, and let's build from there. All right. It says, Isaiah 11:1, and there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots. So who is this rod out of the stem of Jesse? That would be King David, down the line to Yahushai. King Solomon, so on and so forth, all the way down the line to Yahushai. And a branch shall grow out of his roots. This word here for branch is the word natazar, sprout, shoot, branch. Then it says here, always figuratively. All right. Offspring. See, figuratively, a descendant, a branch. So it's a branch that was going to come out of the stem of Jesse. Meaning out of the lineage, of Jesse, which Jesse was the father of King David. Right. And a branch, which is Yahushua, shall grow out of his roots, meaning out of that genealogy. All right. And the Spirit of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai shall rest upon him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and of the fear of the Lord Yahweh. Why? Because this is why they were not able to gainsay his words. Because the Heavenly Father himself was feeding Yahushai everything that he had to say and speak. That's why he told Peter not to, in the apostles, don't think of what you're going to speak, for it shall be given to you in that same hour what you shall speak. For it is not ye that speak, but the Spirit of my Heavenly Father that speaketh in you. You see? And shall make him of quick understanding in the fear of the Lord, and he shall not judge after the sight of his eyes, neither reprove after the hearing of his ears. Why? Because he was going to do it according to the scriptures. And he just came to give the message back then. Now he's coming back to physically judge. Back then he was just given the warning. He was given the blueprint of what to do in order to escape the damnation that's coming later on. But with righteousness shall he judge the poor and reprove with equity for the meek of the earth, which he did when he came, 2,000 years ago. And he shall smite the earth with the rod of his mouth, which he started that when he first came 2,000 years ago. But now it's going to really take hold in this time, because that's that blast that's going to come out of his mouth, as it speaks of in the book of 2 Ezra 13, which is the final trumpet, when this whole thing, when the seventh trumpet blows. Ooh, ooh. That's all I'm going to say. Inside joke. It says, and he shall smite the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips shall he slay the wicked. Yeah, because he's coming back to bring destruction. He came as a lamb. Now this time he's coming as a lion. A fierce, young, virile, powerful, majestic lion. That's how he's coming back. He's coming back to kick enough ass. Beginning with Esau, the nations, 2/3 of Israel, and whoever gets in his way. Remember, he said, those that were not, that I should reign over them, bring hither and slay them before me. All right. It says, and righteousness shall be the girdle of his loins, and faithfulness the girdle of his reins. Now let's go from there to Jeremiah 23:5. It says, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch. Here goes the branch again. And that's this word here for branch is again tazamach, which means sprout, growth, branch. Sprout, shoot of the Messiah from Davidic tree. From that genealogical tree of King David. So behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch, and a king shall reign and prosper. Who's that? Yahushai. And shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. And this is what he's coming back to do. Remember, the earth is going to get a facelift. This earth is about to get a facelift from the wicked to the righteous. It says, in his days, Judah shall be saved and Israel shall dwell safely. Yeah, because he's coming to deliver the nation of Israel. But this time it's going to be the elect of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. No matter where they're scattered around the world, no matter what they look like, if they're a part of the elect, they're in like Flynn. All right? And this is his name whereby he shall be called the Lord our righteousness. Yahweh Tazadakia. Let me see. I know it's Tazadaknawa, Salakat. Yahweh Tazadaknawa. Yahweh is the Most High's name, he to be or he exists. And Tazadak is righteous, and Nawa is our. All right, Yahweh Tazadaknawa. The Lord our righteousness, or Yahweh our righteousness. All right. So it begins with who? Yahushai. And who the Father, Yahweh, has sealed from the beginning. And that's why he sent the branch. Because the branch was going to bring back the fallen of the nation of Israel that would be set back up into power. Okay? Now, let's go from there to the book of 2 Samuel. And then we can move as the Spirit gives us utterance. I got some precepts written down, so trying to go through them best as I can, and whatever other precepts come up, either on the comment board or in the Spirit, which is the same thing. We'll deal with it as such. Man, you brothers are on fire on the comment board. All right, 2 Samuel 7:12. And when thy days be fulfilled, and thou shalt sleep with thy fathers. This is Nathan, through the Father, speaking to King David. I will set up thy seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels. Going back to what? To that stem, that root, that branch. Seed, which is Zerai, which is sperm. Bowels. Ma'ai, internal organs, inward parts, bowels, intestines, belly, inward parts, digestive organs, organs of procreation, womb, organs of procreation, and also the womb, meaning out of King David's loins, places of emotion, external, so places of organs of procreation, which is what? The testes, a man's family jewels. So let's read that again. So it says, and when thy days shall be fulfilled, and thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, I will set up thy seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels, and I will establish his kingdom. See, this was dealing with King Solomon, but really, it's dealing with Yahushua, because Yahushua is King Solomon. It started with King Solomon, but there's certain key wording here that lets us know that it wasn't talking about King Solomon, because King Solomon was born, ruled, and died of old age. Right? It says, he shall build an house for my name, which King Solomon did that, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. See? And the throne of his kingdom was not established forever back then, because he passed away and went back in the spirit world. This was going to be for later on in the history, which is going to be when the kingdom is established. And the branch, Yahushua, which is the same spirit that was in King Solomon, is going to take rule upon the planet, and we are joint heirs with him. It says, I will be his father, and he shall be my son. See? If he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men. Now, did not King Solomon commit iniquity? Yes, he did. Now, was he chastened with the rod of men? No. He died of old age, and with the stripes of the children of men. And he was not beaten with the stripes of the children of men. But who was chastened with the rod of men and the stripes of the children of men? Yahushua. Because Yahushua was the one that came after King Solomon, and was the one that was beaten, because our peace rested upon him, upon his sacrifice. It says, but my mercy shall not depart away from him, as I took it from Saul, whom I put away before thee, and thine house and thy kingdom shall be established forever before thee. Thy throne shall be established forever. All right, so one more. According to all these words and according to all this vision, so did Nathan speak unto David. All right, so now let's go from there. Let's go to the book of Psalms, the 80th chapter. And we're going to read the whole chapter. It's a pretty short chapter. Give ear, O shepherd of Israel. Who's the shepherd of Israel? Yahushua. Thou that leadest Joseph like a flock, thou that dwellest between the cherubims. What are the cherubims? The cherubims are the angels, the mighty ones. Because the word cherubim means mighty ones. Shine forth. And that's what, he is not Yahushua the light. Arise and shine, for thy light hath come. That was Yahushua 2,000 years ago, and that is Yahushua still. He is that light. Before Ephraim and Benjamin and Manasseh, stir up thy strength and come up and save us. And come and save us. Yeah, because we need deliverance. We need salvation. Turn us again. Why? Because we veered off the path. And who brought us back on the path? First, who brought us back to the good graces of the Most High Yahweh? Yahushua. And he turned us back to the right path. O Most High, and cause thy face to shine, and we shall be saved. See? It says, O Lord, power of hosts, how long wilt thou be angry against the prayer of thy people? Yeah, let our prayers pierce through the clouds, pierce through the heavens, and pierce into thine ears, and grant us our petitions. It says, thou feedest them with the bread of tears, and givest them tears to drink in great measure. Yeah, because we were catching hell throughout these different captivities, even now. Hold on for 1 second, Salakia. Okay, Salakia about that. I had to take that. Salakia. All right, so as we're reading, it says, "Thou feedest them with the bread of tears, and givest them tears to drink in great measure." And we were catching hell, and still catching hell to this day. "Thou makest us a strife unto our neighbors, and our enemies laugh among themselves." And that's true, because these nations don't respect us. It says, "Turn us again, O power of hosts, and cause thy face to shine, and we shall be saved." Because this is our hope, to be saved. We are saved by what? By hope. But hope that is seen is not hope for what a man seeth. Why do we yet hope for it? But if we by hope wait for it, then we patiently wait for it until we receive it. As roughly paraphrasing, as it says in Romans 8th chapter, it says, "Thou hast brought a vine out of Egypt. Thou hast cast out the heathen and planted it." So the heathen were who? The Canaanites. And what was that vine? That vine was the nation of Israel. And then when you look up this word vine, you have the word there, gapan. Now we have a prayer that we say during the time, or actually a blessing for the wine during the time of the Passover or the Sabbath service. And the prayer goes like this: "Barakata Yahweh, Hahawa'ah, Nathan Lanawa, Parya, Hagapan, Thawada, Tawab." So as blessed are you, Yahweh, that give to us the fruit of the vine. Thank you. Good. So that is the Gapan or Hagapan, which is the vine. All right. And this vine is a representation of the nation of Israel. This is why it says that thou hast brought a vine out of Egypt. Thou hast cast out the heathen and planted it. So now let's stop there and let's go to a couple of precepts on that. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 5. And remember, Yahushua is the branch, and we are the rest of the branches that stem out of that root. All right. It says, "Now will I sing to my well-beloved a song of my beloved touching his vineyard." And what is the vineyard? It's going to say that it's the nation of Israel. So let's look up this word vineyard. And the word vineyard is karam, vineyard. And the vineyard is what? Is where you plant a vine, and that vine brings forth grapes. And those grapes are usually used for to make wine. It says, "Now will I sing to my well-beloved a song of my well-beloved touching his vineyard," which the well-beloved is the Most High. The song is his truth. And the vineyard is the nation of Israel. "My well-beloved hath a vineyard in a very fruitful hill." And that was the land of Canaan, which was later renamed the land of Israel, a land that flowed with what? With milk and honey. "And he fenced it and gathered out the stones thereof." Yeah, so he put a hedge about us, gave us the law, statutes, and commandments, gathered the stones out, gave us a plain way to go, and planted it with the choicest vine, because we're royalty. And the Lord planted us so. That's why he gave us law, statutes, and commandments, and built a tower in the midst of it. And the tower represents what? The prophets. For what? To keep the message pure, to keep that plain way. It says, "And also made a wine press therein." The wine press is a representation of where the wine is stored, which is the knowledge, right? "And he looked that it should bring forth grapes, and it brought forth wild grapes." See, just like it brought forth wild olives during the time of, when we read up into the New Testament, going into the different empires. All right. It says, "And now, O inhabitants of Jerusalem and men of Judah, judge, I pray you, betwixt me and my vineyard. What could have been done more to my vineyard that I have not done in it?" In other words, what else could the Lord do to make this vineyard perfect? It was created in perfect, straight up perfection. There was no want of anything. That's why it says, "And Jeshurun waxed fat and kicked. Wherefore, when I looked that it should bring forth grapes, brought it forth wild grapes." See, because of the deeds of our people, that's what made us wild. And that's why the Yahushua had to come and clean us back up and graft us to his branch. So in a sense, we're being grafted to the branch of Yahushua and springing forth out of that. That's why he said, matter of fact, let's get that. Let's go to St. John chapter 15 and 1. I am the true vine, and my Father is the husbandman. Every branch in me that beareth not fruit, he taketh away. Yeah, because if you have rotten branches or dead branches, what happened? You prune them, you cut them off. And every branch that beareth fruit, he purgeth it, and that it may bring forth more fruit. Yeah, so you got to keep on top of it so that it can continue to bear fruit. You know, there's a care that you have to take when you are a husbandman, you know, when you're planting your fruits and your vineyards and all of that stuff. You know, there's a specific care if you want the fruit to grow properly and to be good and nutritious. It says, now ye are clean through the words which I have spoken unto you. Abide in me, and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit of itself, see, except it abide in the vine. No more can ye, except you abide in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit, for without me you can do nothing. If a man abide not in me, he is cast forth as a branch, and is withered, and men gather them and cast them into the fire, and they are burnt. See, so this is the destruction. If you abide in me, and my words abide in you, you shall ask what you will, and it shall be done unto you. Yeah, and what happened? You will increase. Herein is my Father glorified, that you bear much fruit. This is all about the parable of the talents, you know, the money that was given to bear more fruit. So shall you be my disciples. So going back, Isaiah 5 and 4, what could have been done more to my vineyard that I have not done in it? Wherefore when I looked that it should bring forth grapes, brought it forth wild grapes. And now go to, I will tell you what I will do to my vineyard. I will take away the hedge thereof, and it shall be eaten up, and break down the wall thereof, and it shall be trodden down. And that's what happened. We cast forth among all the different nations. And this is, I was reading this earlier. This is a bad mamma jamma. I know brothers have brought this, you know, this has been brought up before, but you know, at building on being scattered among the nations, Numbers 24. I'm sorry, not 20. Yeah, 20, it is 24. Just bear with me. All right, here. Numbers 24:7. He shall pour the water out of his buckets, and his seed, meaning the seed of Israel, shall be in many waters, meaning in many different nations. And what do you think Jake is going to do when they get around these nations? They're going to have sex with the women, and the children are going to come out looking, some of them are going to come out looking like their mothers. It says, and his king shall be higher than Agag, and his kingdom shall be exalted, because ultimately Yahushua is going to be the head of the King of kings and Lord of lords. All right. So going back to Isaiah 5 and 6 now, and I will lay it waste, it shall not be pruned, nor digged, but there shall come up briars and thorns. I will also command the clouds that they rain no rain upon it. So there were no blessings. This is why when you look at Jake and they try to break the scriptures down, it's all wrong. It has all type of flaws, all type of madness involved. You know, ease doctrine up in there. You know, their own emotions up in there. It's a recipe for disaster. That's why King David said, let their table be made a snare, and that which should be for their welfare, let it become a trap unto them. And that's why they get trapped up in the scriptures when they try to break things down. So it says, for the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel, and the men of Judah his pleasant plant, because Judah is the head tribe. And you look for judgment, but behold oppression, for righteousness, but behold a cry. See? So nothing. So this is the house of Israel is a vineyard. Yahushua is a top branch. Excuse me, underneath the Most High. Now, let's go from there. Back. No, I'm sorry. I got one more. Matthew 21. Matthew 21 is a couple of verses here. Matthew 21 and 33. And it reads, the parable of the landowner. Here another parable. There was a certain householder which planted a vineyard. Who is this householder? The Most High Yahweh. And the vineyard is who? The nation of Israel. and hedged it round about, we read in Isaiah the 5th chapter, and digged a winepress in it, we read in Isaiah the 5th chapter, and built a tower, we read in the book of Isaiah the 5th chapter, and let it out to husbandmen, and went into a far country. All right? And when the time of the fruit drew near, he sent his servants to the husbandmen, the servants being who? The prophets. The husbandmen being who? The leaders of the nation of Israel. Right? That they might receive the fruits of it. See? Because in order for, if you are taking care of something for somebody, they want the benefit, the increase, you know? And the husbandman took his servants and beat one and killed another and stoned another. That was the prophets that did that too. Again, he sent other servants more than the first, and they did unto them likewise. So every time they sent the prophets, what did Jake do? They killed the prophets. That's why Yahushua cursed out them wicked Pharisees and Sadducees and told them that. It says, Matthew 23:37, O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, thou that killest the prophets and stonest them which are sent unto thee. How often would I have gathered thy children together, even as a hen gathereth her chickens under her wings, and you would not. Behold, your house is left unto you desolate. For I say unto you, you shall not see me henceforth till you shall say, blessed is he that cometh in the name of the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So going back, Matthew 21:37, but last of all, he sent unto them his son, which he sent Yahushua 2,000 years ago, saying, they will reverence my son. But when the husbandmen saw the son, they said among themselves, this is the heir. Come, let us kill him, and let us seize on his inheritance. And they caught him and cast him out of the vineyard and slew him. See, because what did Yahushua get crucified? Outside of Jerusalem. It says, when the Lord therefore of the vineyard cometh, what will he do unto those husbandmen? They said unto him, he will miserably destroy those wicked men, and will let out his vineyard unto other husbandmen, which shall render him the fruits in their season. Yahushua said unto them, did ye never read in the scriptures, the stone which the builders rejected, which is dealing with Yahushua, the same has become the head of the corner? Because this is the foundation. Yahushua is the foundation. This is the Lord's doing, and it is marvelous in our eyes. Therefore say I unto you, the kingdom of the Most High shall be taken from you, because it was taken from them, you know, and given to who? To the disciples, which later became apostles, so on and so forth, and given to a nation bringing forth fruits thereof. Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's about bearing fruit. It's about bringing an increase. And whosoever shall fall on this stone shall be broken, but on whomsoever it shall fall, it will grind him to powder. That's right. So whoever had a hand in putting Yahushua to death, they're gonna bear their iniquity when the time comes. So now let's go back to Psalms 80. Let's read that again. Psalms 80 verse 8. Thou hast brought a vine out of Egypt. Thou hast cast out the heathen and planted it. Thou preparest room before it, and didst cause it to take deep root, and it filled the land. Yeah, because Jake eventually got a foothold on all of the land. The hills were covered with the shadow of it, and the boughs thereof were like the goodly cedars. She sent out her boughs unto the sea, and her branches unto the river. Yeah, because we increased in the land. Why hast thou then broken down her hedges, so that all they which pass by the way do pluck her? See? The boar out of the wood doth waste it, and the wild beast of the field doth devour it. This was the nations that did this to us, Esau and the other nations. Return, we beseech thee, O power of hosts, look down from heaven, and behold, and visit this vine. See? And we're in a time of visitation now. And the vineyard which thy right hand hath planted, and the branch that thou madest strong for thyself. Who was that branch? Yahushua made strong for himself. It is burned with fire. It is cut down. They perish at the rebuke of thy countenance. See, so Yahushua had to fall in order for us to be able to be brought back into the good graces of the Most High Yahweh. So now, let's get a precept on that. Isaiah chapter 51. And, I'm sorry, not 51. Isaiah 53. Yeah, Isaiah 53. Isaiah 53 and 1. So it says, who hath believed our report, and to whom is the arm of the Lord Yahweh revealed? The arm of the Lord is Yahweh Shai. So whom has he been revealed to? For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, dealing with Yahweh Shai as a child, growing up. And as a root out of the dry ground, he hath no form, no comeliness, and we shall see him. There is no beauty that we should desire him. This is a representation of him being on that cross and how he was so marred, as the scripture said. What is it, Isaiah 52? Isaiah 52 and 13. Behold, my servant shall deal prudently. He shall be exalted and extolled, and be very high. As many as were astonished at thee, his visage was so marred, more than any man, and his form more than the sons of men. Yeah, because his face was totally distorted, contorted, because of the crown of thorns and the beatings. Remember, they were beating him, you know? And this is what is meant in Isaiah, the 53rd chapter, about being marred. So the word for marred is mashakath, disfigurement of face, corruption. See? So that was a disfigurement of his face. Why? Because of the beatings that he suffered. Because remember, the chastisement of Yahweh Shai was what brought peace to us. You see? So going back to Isaiah 53 and 2, for he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of a dry ground. He had no form, no comeliness, and when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him. And we're going to actually see that body of Yahweh Shai again in the kingdom, one last time, you know, and that'll be one last cry that we'll go through, because the Lord is going to show us how much he loved us by showing us, you know, the beating that he caught for us. You see? I believe that's Zechariah 12 or Zechariah 13. I don't remember exactly what. You know, you brothers can, you know, search that for yourself and read it. He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. And we hid, as it were, our faces from him. He was despised, and we esteemed him not. See, because a lot of Israel turned their back on Yahweh Shai. Surely he hath borne our griefs, and carried our sorrows. Yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of the Most High, and afflicted. See? So that's when it speaks about in Psalms 80 and 15, and the vineyard which thy right hand hath planted, and the branch that thou madest strong for thyself, it is burned with fire, it is cut down, they perish at the rebuke of thy countenance. You know, so that's dealing with Israel also, but it begins with Yahweh Shai. Remember, the scriptures say that this word is the book is written of Yahweh Shai. Let me get that real quick. I can't think of the exact quote. Psalms chapter 40, verse 7. Then said I, lo, I come in the volume of the book. It is written of me. So the volume of the book is written of Yahweh Shai. So this happened to him, you know. Now let's go. And why did that happen to Yahweh Shai? Why did he suffer that fate? It was to bring us back to the Heavenly Father. Let's go to Isaiah 9 real quick. We've got a couple more precepts, and then we can close out. Isaiah 9 and 6. It says, for unto us a child is born, which is Yahweh Shai. Unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulders. Why? Because he is the foundation. He is that cornerstone. And his name shall be called Wonderful. And this word wonderful, let me see what the word wonderful was. Okay, it's going into Pala. I thought it was going to be a different word. All right. Extraordinary, hard to understand thing. Okay, marvel. All right. So let's go back. And his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty Power, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Why? Because our peace rested upon his sacrifice. Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end, upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom, to order it. Because remember, the Lord promised. This is a proof that throne being established forever was going to be given to Yahweh Shai, which pretty much Yahweh Shai is King Solomon. The spirit that was in Yahweh Shai 2,000 years ago was the same spirit that was in King Solomon prior to about 1,000 years before that. and upon his kingdom to order it and to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth even forever. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this. That's right. So Yahushua is that branch. He is that foundation. He is that cornerstone. Now let's go to Colossians 1:20. And it reads, I start at 19. For it pleased the Father that in him, in Yahushua, should all fullness dwell. Why? Because he didn't receive a portion like we did. He received the whole pie, so to speak. And he dished out a portion to each one of us. Lord's will we be the elect. It says, and having made peace through the blood of his cross. See, that's what made the peace. By him to reconcile or bring back into the good graces of all things of the nation of Israel unto himself. Why? Because when he did that, he was the one that opened the door for the mercy of the Most High Yahweh to be bestowed upon us once again. By him I say, whether they be things in earth or things in heaven. Yeah, because you have spirits that are alive on the earth and you have spirits that are in the heaven, waiting for the consolation. Now, I got one more precept, then we can finish out in the book of Psalms 80. Hebrews 13:20. It says, now the power of peace that brought again from the dead our Lord Yahushua, that great shepherd of the sheep, through the blood of the everlasting covenant. See? Make you perfect in every good work to do his will, working in you that which is well pleasing in his sight, through Yahushua HaMashiach, to whom be glory forever and ever, so be true. That's right. And I beseech you, brethren, suffer the word of exhortation, for I have written a letter unto you in a few words. Know ye that our brother Timothy is set at liberty, with whom if he comes shortly I will see you. Salute all them that have the rule over you, and all the saints. They of Italy salute you. Grace be unto you all, so be true. So going back to Psalms 80, let's read this again, the 16th verse. It is burnt with fire, it is cut down, they perish at the rebuke of thy countenance. Let thy hand be upon the man of thy right hand. See, who is the man at the right hand of the Most High? Yahushua. Upon the Son of Man, whom thou madest strong for thyself. As we read up here, the branch that thou madest strong for thyself. So this is dealing with Yahushua. It says, let thy hand be upon the man of thy right hand, upon the Son of Man, whom thou madest strong for thyself. So will not we go back from thee. Quicken us, and we will call upon thy name. And that's why we had to be revived and resuscitated in these times, because we were pretty much the walking dead. It says, turn us again, O Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, power of hosts, cause thy face to shine, and we shall be saved. That's right. So this has been the branch in the vineyard. I know that you brothers put a lot of banging precepts up. So with that, I pray that you brothers have been edified. And to the next time I say, Shalom.